Well, ladies and gentlemen, I do have a couple of poems here. Mr. Cropper, by the way, of course. For the first one's from Mitsuya Yamada, born in 1923, a bedtime story, written in 1976. Oh, this is from Poetry and Introduction, second edition. It's a textbook from my college days. Once upon a time, an old Japanese legend goes, as told by Papa, an old woman traveled through many small villages seeking refuge for the night. Each door opened, a sliver in answer to her knock, then closed. Unable to walk any further, she warily climbed a hill, found a clearing, and there lay down to rest a few moments to catch her breath. The village town below lay asleep, except for a few starlight lights. Suddenly the clouds opened, and a full moon came into view over the town. Well, that's about halfway out. We're done with that. The next poem is from William Butler Yeats, 1865-1939. This poem was written in 1903. It's called Adam's Curse. And you all know that Adam ate the apple of knowledge, fell from grace, and after that he was screwed. He had to work and think. We sat together at one summer's end, that beautiful mild woman, your close friend, and you and I, and talked of poetry. I said, a line will take us hours maybe. Yet, if it does not seem a moment's thought, our stitching and unstitching has been naught. Better go down upon your marrow bones and scrub a kitchen pavement or break stones like an old pauper in all kinds of weather. For to articulate sweet sounds together is to work harder than all these, and yet be thought and idler by the noisy set of banker, schoolmaster, and clergyman the martyrs call the world, and thereupon. Clergyman thereupon, set world, yet, set yet world, and he doesn't get back to world, because how do you rhyme with world? But he doesn't need to, because thereupon was in that line. And it goes on a little further. You can go and get Mr. William Butler Yeats' poems online for free, I'm sure, somewhere. So, which one of those was really quite profound, and which one of those was really stupid, inane nonsense? Immature, childish, juvenile, and I'll let you draw the conclusions. Now I have here a fantastic book, and I had just looked over the introduction, the table of introduction, when I did my poetry series. 5 videos, I think I did all together. Didn't even open it, but now I've opened it. I want to share with you a little bit from Donald A. Stauffer, The Nature of Poetry, a critical examination of the structure, texture, and meaning of English poetry, with examples running from Spenser to Yeats. A gentleman has challenged me, saying that I disregard Shakespeare as non-poetry because he doesn't rhyme. That's true. Shakespeare is not poetry. Shakespeare is poetic because he uses so much rhythm and does throw in a bit of a rhyme here and there. He plays with sounds. He echoes things and stuff, alliteration from time to time, but you're not going to find him rain, pain, no, snow, here, jeer, high, tie. Yeah, that's not going to be what you get from Shakespeare, is it? Bit more sophisticated than to just do an A, B, B, C, C poem. And Shakespeare's sonnets, by the way, this gentleman who has read a piece from Shakespeare and has challenged me saying that it doesn't rhyme, would be well off to read one of Shakespeare's sonnets, which rhymes. I better give his name. Right, his screen name is DawnofReason. So, that's ironic. DawnofReason says that I am abusing the definition of poetry by saying it has to rhyme. That's worthy of a Kurt Vonnegut novel. Mr. DawnofReason, sir, I have to recommend to you Dawn of Decadence, pardon me, Dawn to Decadence, 1500 to the present 500 years of Western cultural life, and that will tell you just a bit about where we have come from, where we have ended up, and we've ended up with non-rhyming poetry. Book, again, Donald Stauffer. This is published 44, 46, I believe. and Company, 1946. Now, I just have out of the prologue here a few things. He says, in chapter 6, he holds that poetry is rhythmic. A poem maintains its life by walking the knife edge between rhythmical formlessness on one side and mechanical meter on the other. Now, if it's too mechanical, then we say, you know, that's fine, it rhymes, the beat matches, but it's just too mechanical. There's nothing there for us to even try. There's no fun at all. So he's got it right there, that it has to rhyme, it has to have rhythm and beat, it has to have something that identifies it as non-prose. Why is it poetry? Why is it not prose? Because it has rhythm, meter, rhyme, something. We would call most of Shakespeare's writings poetic, because they come close to poetry and yet pass by. I think that's a slight reference to Nietzsche. Is it Zarathustra that comes from? Poetry is formal, he says, in the 7th chapter. He says the word is forbidding in its stiffness, and again, much of this chapter, as of the others, is busy in preventing wrong implications. So he doesn't want to imply that it's supposed to be stiff in any way. He talks a little bit later, just down we skip a bit, he says, let's talk about a little bit, I'm interjecting here, let's identify and talk a little bit about why poems appeal to us. Poems have been hijacked like an airliner, valuable, very, very valuable cargo on board. It's got a destination, and modern poets have hijacked it. They're saying it doesn't have to rhyme. Now, you just imagine if your pilot on your airplane said there has to be no rhyme or reason in how we fly this plane.